Hello, my name is Charlie Gaffney, and I'm a Wolastoqiyik artist residing in Fredericton, New Brunswick. Most of my artwork uh, that I produce these days is more carving based, and there's a reason for that. I was taught by the late great carver Ned Bear, who's from Sedunxes, which is St. Mary's First Nation, and Ned taught me back in high school, and it really changed my life. So I've been carving now for, without giving away my age, I would say it's definitely well over 30 years now, probably somewhere around 32, 33 years in total. Um, I've been, I've received grants in the past from Arts NB, and but most of my work is word of mouth. I sell it by word of mouth, and it's commissioned work, and that's not a bad thing. Definitely, when you have people that are looking for your artwork and would like to purchase your artwork, that's never a bad thing. However, there are times when you need the support as an artist to move forward. And and yes, that was my dog. You may hear him once in a while. But it is nice to as an artist to get the support that you need to develop website material to so if you're short on cash and you don't have those abilities, it is also nice to reach out to arts organizations that can help in this way. And it's also great to network with arts organizations so that they know that there is more Indigenous artwork here in the province of New Brunswick. Um, After high school, I ended up going to the College of Craft and Design. I spent a few years there and ended up leaving, and then went to do my arts degree, my ed degree, and went back. I was offered a job at the college to develop a program, the Aboriginal Visual Arts program that used to be run by Lake Guanarisha. So she had an Indigenous program there that focused on a lot of daily interactions and talking about current subject matters that may be going on in the communities or in the wider community. And we had odd Indigenous artists that would come in and showcase a little bit of their work. So the college asked me to produce a new program, a 2-year diploma program, which I successfully completed. And I was there at the college as an instructor, a curriculum developer, an instructor, and then went into management where I oversaw half the programs at the college. And I've moved on from there. My hope now is to, in my, given my career and the amount of work that being a full-time employee with the government doesn't really give me the work that I'm, the freedom that I want to continue as a full-time artist. So but I am striving towards hitting a retirement, an early retirement, so that I can practice and continue on with my artwork. So I have been starting to build my portfolio, and so I'm going to talk to you today about portfolios. I'm going to talk to you about the difference between a resume and an artist resume, and I'm also going to talk to you about artist statements and how to really work with the words and how to make sure that the focus is towards the grant that you're applying for. So without further ado, I'd like to share my screen, and I'm going to bring up this folder here. I'm just going to close it so you can see here on my folder. I've got just for today's sake, I have presentation. And within this presentation folder that I have on my desktop, you can see that there is a number of subfolders. Within these subfolders, I've taken my artwork and my writings, my documentation and everything, and I've broken it down so that they're easy to find. They're all in one folder on your desktop. And I understand that not every artist has the opportunity to own a laptop and to operate a laptop. So that being said, I will speak about how to apply for grants without using laptop technology, and another way that you can still apply with Arts NB and other grants to get the work done that you need. So for now, we're going to focus on how to work within your laptop and your desktop to keep everything in a nice, neat folder. As you can see, the titles here are my artwork, and then I have in the next folder is documentation and articles. I have grants that I've worked on in the past, large projects that I've worked on in the past, presentations, resume bios, videos / artist talks, website, and product shots. So the website and product shots is fairly new. So we're going to save that towards the end to kind of give you an update as to what my website looks like and how I've worked on it. So just to give you a quick peek, so you can see a lot of random artwork in here. Not everything is masks and paddles. Where I taught at the college, it was a pleasure and an honor that I got to really dive into my culture and find out what is traditional, and in practice making those things, which is fantastic. So I can open up a piece of my artwork here. This is birch bark etching. And so you can see that here I've been able to figure out how to use spruce roots, all natural materials, and tell a little bit of a story on the birch bark like our ancestors used to do. And this is winter bark. So I won't spend too much time on these. I just want to give you an idea. Here's a basket that I made back in the AVA program. So it's learning how to dye ash and how to weave a basket and understanding the technical aspect of creating baskets. And believe me, it's very technical, especially when you have to pound your own ash tree and produce your own ash strips. It's very meaningful. Your basket's worth a lot of money at the end of the day after you do that. So here is a fishing spear that is in a museum in Moncton. I don't have a lot of final photo shots of my artwork, professional shots, but I did, however, manage to capture some of them that can be shared. And here's a paddle here. You can see this is a traditional pattern off a paddle that I created. And it tells a bit of a story in terms of seasons. As you go down the blade face a little bit further to the left, the flowers get smaller, the petals. So it kind of goes from winter to fall. And so it's been great. Predominantly, this is my work here that I like to do. I do a lot of carving that Ned Bear showed me how to do. So this is a angry chief that I carved years ago. So my point being is it's fantastic to have all of your artwork in one folder that you could just grab onto. I'll show you, excuse me, another piece here from Mount Carlton. This is a large project that we're going to be talking about, other than grants with Arts MB. So this is collaborating artwork that I've done with local artist Brandon Mitchell. He lives in Fredericton, but he's Mi'kmaq from Wolastoqiyik. And so we collaborated on a piece together. But everything is here that I need. And it's only growing, right? So the more that I produce, the more you can throw in there. That's an easy one. This is quite simple to set up in your folder and be able to access all your immediate artwork that you'd like to use. Because most grants, they are very specific. So we'll get into that. Documents and articles. So here's an example. These are articles and that I took out of either books or local clippings. These are great to have just to show that your work has been not only recorded by journalists or has been in a newspaper, and it just speaks that you're getting more noticed as an artist, as an Indigenous artist. Here's one. This one here is a book that went to SOFA, which is the largest art show in North America. If I can bring it up, this is The Angry Chief, but it is in the actual book that SOFA produces every year. So that was quite an honor to have my piece actually in with all the other, there's thousands and thousands of artists that apply probably every year. And my work actually went to Chicago and was shown down there. It was very good. So these are all things that you'd want to keep as clippings and articles. And I didn't get them all. However, I did get quite a few of them. So those are great to have. All of these add up to applying for larger grants or working on projects. When people ask you from Arts MB, when you're filling out a grant form, they're going to ask you, what upload your scanned documents or articles, upload some of your work. And if you have those all in one file, it's super easy just to grab and move forward. So I'm going to pass on the grants for now. We're going to come back to that. I'm going to pass on the large projects. And what I'd like to do is I'd actually like to go to resume and the bio, artist bio. So there is many different ways to actually do in a resume. And resumes really, an artist resume should be, it's very broad in terms of the work that you've done, the scope of the work, but it also can be very narrow depending on who it is that you're submitting to and what it is that they're asking for. That's the truth for any resume. I've had just within government 3 different jobs, and I've done 3 different resumes, work resumes, and I can give you an understanding of this would be my work resume that I believe it's up to date. I'll give you a quick peek. So that's me, and you can see it basically covers, your education. It talks about your skills. These are all just at the top as a PowerPoint so that people, when they grab your resume, they want to see right away that what is these skills? And they don't want to go through the entire body of the text. They want to kind of have it at their fingertips. So it's really good to break it down. As you can see, I put my education, I put my managerial skills, my practical skills, and in this case, I'm an Indigenous person, and I ended up putting Indigenous knowledge, which is becoming more of an asset, whether you're in government or any position that comes available. You'd find if you're Indigenous to have some points in there about what you're capable of speaking to will become an asset to you. Professional experience, covering professional experience. You can notice here that so we have a program development officer, apprenticeship, and this is my current job. This is what I do today for a living in government. And I noted here that I started back, it's almost been 1 full year. November 20th will be a full year for me to present day. And it's good for a few reasons to have those on there. It shows consistency in the job that you've done over the years. And if you have jumped around from job to job, that's okay too. And as an artist, when you this may not be as important for you, but it's good to still understand that some people may want a working resume just to see a bit of your background and your past and where you've been. It's very rare that many of us have been full-time artists since birth and never held a job before. You'd be awfully blessed if you were. So it shows here as a program lead at the community call or at the culture, craft and design, and then very detailed, very descriptive. It talks about some of my other work I've done in the past, and it breaks down to some of the. Now this is really interesting here. Key responsibility areas. Again, we go into a point bullet form, just so that people can see what it is, and you can speak to that at length. And I'm a bit older. I've worked quite a few years, and I've accumulated quite a resume. And but believe it or not, I've actually chopped this down. This is only all my education that I've ever done. This isn't all the other jobs that I've had or other opportunities that I know that I could share and put on here. But this is basically all around education. So that being said, let's get out of that. And I'd like to show you what an artist resume looks like, because that's really what you're here for. You're here to see what an artist resume looks like. Okay, so this was done in a Word document. And I know that, like I said, not everybody has the opportunity to work with a laptop and to be able to email and do all the modern things that everybody kind of seems to have the comfort of doing these days, but not everybody has this opportunity. If you have a phone, most phones these days, if it's an Android or a smartphone, has notes, an option where you can kind of pin notes. And the notes isn't something that you'd want to plug into a printer and print, but the notes is a reminder to yourself, if you don't have a laptop, that you could handwrite it out, where you can speak into a microphone that is either on your phone, or you can figure out how much it is for a voice recorder so that you can record these. Arts NB has been very, very good over the years, changing the way that they're accepting artwork. And so if I didn't have a computer and I really wanted to submit some work for a grant, you can print off your photographs and you can take it to Walmart, where it's extremely affordable. I believe it's like less than $1 for a picture up at Walmart. And you can also voice record. And this is a really good way of doing it. So they have program officers there that you can speak with, and they can help you do the hard work. So if you don't have a laptop, don't feel discouraged. So on my resume here, you can see, again, I have education at the top. And then if we go down a little bit here, you can see the selective invitation and group exhibitions. So people that ask you to participate in a show is an invitation. You're being invited to show your work in a show. These are very, very valuable as an artist, to be asked to produce work and show your work in a show, in a gallery. And this is really, really important to arts organizations like Arts NB. It kind of gives them a history of the work that you've been doing, and it tells them how active you've been over the years. Now you could see between 2013 and 2017, there was nothing there for me, basically. So I don't know if I was, that could have been something I could look back at in my personal resume, my work resume, and because I can correlate with the dates and say I was very busy at that time. I might have been developing curriculum, doing less as an artist. And that is one good way to kind of keep track of things. This shows you that I've had quite a few shows in 2017 and commissioned work, and it's kind of grown from there, and it's been updated to the 2021 show, which is in Toronto, and that's with Gallery on Queen. There's selected collections and commissions. So going back all the way to 1991, I've been carving masks. And you can see here that it's just private sale, private sale, private sale, private sale. And, I didn't put the value or where they went. And I probably should have put maybe in here as one thing I thought of is where they went, so that if you ever need to contact people to get a bunch of work back to do a showing, then that would be very beneficial to you as an artist, to keep track of where your art went to. But back then, when I was first starting out, as most artists, it's never in, it's, some of us struggle, I'll put it that way, trying to hit your stride as an artist. And we've all heard that it takes about 10,000 hours to practice one art, to master it, to be really good at it. And that may be true. I've definitely got way more than 10,000 hours in carving. But you can see that my work starts picking up and I start producing more work. So it goes from the 1990s to the 2000s. And I start putting in here where they're going to. Okay, so there is right here, I've got 2 masks that are private sale, and I know that they're in a law firm in Australia. I've got a few that are in Boston. I've got one that's a private sale in England. And as you go down, you can kind of see where some of my work has gone. And it goes all the way up to 2021. I'm pretty sure I captured almost all the masks that I've produced over the years. There may be some that are missing, but this is a good indication of how to keep track of your work under selected collections and commissions. Like I said, most of my artwork was produced, and people bought the masks just by word of mouth. They knew I was carving, and some people would find out how to get a hold of me or come and see me, and they would basically say they want the work. There's some selected awards and grants, and you can see here that back in the day, Bernadine Purley from Tobic First Nation used to work with, I believe it was Arts NB, might have been under a different name back then, but there was creation grants, and I was introduced to creation grants. I know two creation grants, one here in between the span of 93 and 96. I did produce two pieces of work, and that another project I worked on was a project of heart, and that was through the AVA program at the Culture, Craft and Design. And that was a collaborative project. And the Mount Carlton project is a collaborative project with Brandon Mitchell, who I spoke about earlier. So selected awards and grants are really good to keep in your CV. And then selected and printed electronic media. Here you can see that Beaverbrook Art Gallery. There is a show that was invited, and my work was on display there. So, and again, you can see that SOFA, there was a publication. Anything that has to do with being printed in the paper or somebody speaking about it on CBC website, wherever it's being shared, if it's being shared on multiple fronts through different websites, and I would try and find out as many as you could to indicate where they've been shown and put them down as, it could be the same piece of artwork, but it could be over multiple websites that they're talking about your work. So that's really good to take care of as well. Professional experience, it's nice to discuss if you've ever had an opportunity to, whether you've been a juror before. It raises your level of professional expertise to be considered by your peers to sit on a jury and jury other people's work. That's always an honor, and that's a lot of fun to do. You get to meet some new artists, and you get to see, because you're specifically not allowed to go after that grant. If you're a juror, that's a bit of a contract. But what you will gain out of that is you'll be able to meet other artists face to face, and you'll really be able to get a sense of what it is that you're looking for your next grant, because you ultimately are choosing 4, 5, 6, 7 people out of a funding envelope that may have $25,000 or $30,000 in it, and you're rating the work that comes in along with how everything has been put together, the way that the artists speak about their project. You need to show weight in your budget, how to do a budget properly. And I'm going to show you a little bit of this, of one of the grants that I did. And to be able to tell everybody that this is a project I'm doing, and to be able to finish that project. So you need like letters of reference, and to make sure that when trusted, when receiving a grant, that you're going to come good with it. So that's an artist resume. There's a big difference between the two. So you can see just by scrolling through again, all the work over the years, and some of it is repeated because it may be a commission piece that I did in the past up here, through here, but it may be that that piece was highlighted in electronic media, so you may see a double of it, so which is really important. But this is a layout that is pretty consistent with many of the artists that I know that have been practicing art for many, many years. So watch the video. If you need to scroll back, pause it, and take a look at it. Alrighty. So I think what I'd like to do is show you the artist bio and work bio. Again, just to compare apples and oranges, they're two different things. So this is a work bio, just not to be confused for those who have never done a bio before. So this would be my work bio, and my work bio, it's here, it's great because I could just grab it like this if I'm applying for a new job, and I copy and paste it and away I go. For someone who doesn't have a computer, it may be a little harder, but it would be great to keep a really good notebook of your bio, so that if you need to read it out, record it, or put it on a jump stick that you can hand into Arts NB for a grant, or Canada Council for the Arts. This is one of the ways that you can do it. So here you can see that it's very specific about the current job that I'm in right now, which is basically overseeing trades in the province of New Brunswick. And so this is very um, driven in that area of, I guess, my previous expertise would have been in water, wastewater, and I was able to use that in here because it's a current trade that is in the province of New Brunswick. So I highlighted that and copied and pasted into this piece. So this is a work bio, and then here for an artist bio, you can see right away that I'm using more, visual artist and educator. I'm still using education in there because I feel that a lot of the grants that I go after, it's an extra addition to not only am I creating something, but maybe I want to bring in an apprentice or someone so that that education element could be piece of it. So I would suggest using all the tools that you can to really hone in your thoughts about what it is, who you are, and what it is that you have to offer. And I think when you can do that and master that, and it's taken time, and it's not an easy thing to do. I've taught many adults over the years at the college, and I know that one of the things that we had to do in the past is we have to be able to get over the the weirdness of talking about yourself and to be able to write about yourself. And it is strange because I could sit here and introduce somebody and really trump them up and talk about them, but when it's their turn to do that, they kind of clam up a little bit and kind of, they're not comfortable talking about themselves. But as an artist, you have to be able to say that you are an artist and this is what I can do. You have to own it and be proud of it. So this talks a little bit about some of the programs I've done, and it kind of gives you an idea of my background, some of my work in South throughout Asia, in Australia, England, and the United States. And I've got lots of work here in the province of New Brunswick. So again, this is just years and years of work, and I threw in here what I felt was specific for people to know about me. So it tells a story about me, and that's really what you want, is you want it to focus on, tell somebody this is who I am. Okay, so that's really the difference between, I hope that gave you a little bit of insight as to the difference between a regular working bio and a more specific bio around art, and the same for the resumes. It's always great to have. So that being said, what I'd like to do is, let's jump to, so these are the documentations here. So the grant, they're very specific about what they're looking for, specifically for Arts NB. They want so many pictures, and they want specific documentation. They want it named properly. So let's go into grants here. And all of those subfolders that I have in this one presentation folder on my desktop, I pulled the documents and brought them in here so you can see them. Okay, so here's one of the very first things they're going to ask you is provide a picture of yourself. And here's an older picture of me. And this is me when I didn't have a beard and I was much younger. I still don't have any hair, but that's okay. So that's a picture. You want to be able to show people who you are. You're gonna want a few of these pictures, whether it's an up close face picture or a picture that's more of a product shot picture. And just to show you the difference between the two, that's a straight on front facing picture. You can see my face. I just want to show you the difference between a product shot picture. So if we go in here, okay, so here they are here. You can see like this is a product shot picture. So this is, well, I should say product shot. It's more of me working or gathering. Product shot would be the end piece as an actual product shot. So I apologize for saying that, but this is an action shot, and it still shows me harvesting birch bark and gathering natural materials. So between the two, depending on what they're asking for, if it's with Arts MB, usually they would like to see a shot of you face on so that uh, they can add that so that the jury can see who it is that they're looking at, and they can have it on file. So we'll go back to the grants. So in the grants here, there's a number of things in here. So don't try not to get discouraged when you're doing a grant for Arts NB. It does take time. I think that this grant specifically took me, I think it took me about 4 days to finish. Probably even longer because of the written part that I had to do for it. So one of the most important things is to articulate what it is that your idea is and how you bring that to life within so many words. Because Arts MB are going to ask you within, under 1,000 words or under 500 words, please describe to me what it is that you plan on doing. Basically, you need to bring that to life. You need to be able to highlight that and show them what it is that you're doing. So again, I used it in a Word document, and here you can see right off the bat that it shows you what my goals are. And so if I was a jury member, which I have been before many times, as a jury member, it's, to me personally, I think it's great to have the information right up front, and then questions follow within the body. As a juror, I may have questions going, okay, well, he's got my attention, or she's got my attention, they have my attention. What do I draw out of what it is that they've written for me? Always remember that it's really, really important. I can't stress this enough, that you should take breaks when you're writing these. It doesn't really matter how good of a, how, fantastic you are of a writer. You should always walk away and think about what it is that you've written and how you're articulating this to the jurors that are going to be reading this. There's very specific guidelines when writing, and they have to each the writing has to hit these notes for the jurors for Arts NB. If there's missing information into excuse me, into the project description, then that's not good for me, because the jurors are not going to have an opportunity to call you up and say, Charlie, what did you mean by that? Just doesn't happen. In fact, you don't get to meet the jurors at all. So you really have to nail your writing. So again, if you didn't have a computer, you'd really have to, I think, take notes, scribble them down on a piece of paper, read them over a bunch of times, write it out so that it's formulated into what it is that you'd like to do, and try and get it the best you can so that they can understand what it is that you're that they can replay and listen to if they have any questions. It's all in the body. So here, what I decided to do is, this is for a development grant with Arts NB, and I wanted to develop my website. I was always scared as an artist, excuse me, that once I created a website, I was going to have this mad rush of people contacting me wanting artwork, and really, I think I was daydreaming. And it's not like that at all. But in fact, it's become a really good educational tool, and I'm so happy that I've been able to create a website and launch a website with the help of Nate Gaffney and Desmond. There's a bunch of people out there that have really been instrumental to me being able to produce a website and get it off the ground. Excuse me, but we'll look at that in a bit. So have people check your work. Get up and get away from your computer, but it's great to have other people come in and look at your work. And they will be able to read it over, make sure that it reads clear and it's concise, and it's describing all the things that it is that you want to do. And if you're leaving out any detail, it's the chances are you're not going to be very successful. So just take your time at it. Wording is quite crucial in the way that you would write one of these in the body of the text. And it's kind of bringing that person, the juror, on a journey with you, saying, this is what I really want to do. And the juror's like, I understand it. This is great. And there's no questions after they read it. They're very content with it. They put it down. Um, as a juror, I can tell you that I've read many project plans, whether it's for creation grants or other grants, and you struggle a little bit. I mean, it doesn't matter if you've been doing this for years, people struggle, and there's mistakes that can be found within it. And I'm not saying that this is perfect, but it was good enough to get the grant. So I'm very happy about that. So it is here for you to read. I didn't want to read through it. I wanted to more explain it, but I'll just show it here again. Might be able to, I wonder if I could stretch this out. There we go. So this is what I did. And it's not very long, as you can see. It's a one pager. But you got to remember, as a juror, you got to be able to describe what it is that you want to say in a one page, because there may be 45 to 50 applicants. And jurors really don't have the time to sit there and read through. Well, they do have to read the documents, but it's a lot harder if it was more than one page. Okay, so I'm going to click out of that. That was on there. So the great thing about technology is that you guys out there can stop the video. And I'm hoping that this goes on the Mawi'Art website, and that hopefully that if you have a mobile app on your phone, or something on your phone, that you can open it up and stop it and read it, that's great too. So you should have the technology to do that. Again, so other things that they're going to be asking for is your final report. They're going to ask for a definition. Let's open up a few of these. So there's a detailed budget. This is a good one. Let's talk about budgets. So what I did here is I did a rough budget of what it is that I thought the expenditure was going to be. And I was going for, I believe, $5,000 to do my website. And there's a documentation, Arts MB grant, detailed budget. So substance. So this the substance expenses out of pocket that it would cost, or basically for me to live off of, or to help pay myself, because I have a full-time job. You just pay yourself a little bit when you're working on the weekends. And then there is a cost for research and development. So what I did was, I thought, for my project, if you read the description that I wrote, I didn't want my website to be something that you just open up and there's a bunch of pictures and you just click on them. I wanted it more to be an educational tool for people that want to learn more about Indigenous culture, and teachers or anybody could click onto my website and use some of the videos in their classrooms for learning. That's kind of where my thoughts are with the website, and I've got more videos that need to be uploaded. And yes, there are some pictures on their previous work, but the bulk of the video of the website is really focused more on video. So again, put in your if there's any rental space you have to rent, if there's travel, transportation costs, if there's any accommodations, if there's any packing and shipping. In this case, there wasn't. Put in your total expense. So I was asking for basically the overall budget was 8,000. I ended up getting 5,000 for it. So it's nice to overshoot. If you come in right at 5, chances are you might get like 4,000 or 4,500. They might cut it down a little bit, unless they absolutely love it and they know that you definitely need the $5,000. I threw in $1,000 in my personal contribution, and I was requesting 7,000 from Arts NB. So that's kind of where I got the total revenue. And yeah, there's a stipend, 100% of the stipend, the 3,000 per month. So I kind of broke it all down, and what they do is they want you to put this in their format. And this is basically their format. I basically copied and pasted it onto a Word sheet, practiced it a few times before putting it into the actual document. So if we go into the actual document, Documentation grant. I don't know if this is the same one. I see I've got 3 here. Let me see. Let me see if this might be the same one. Apologize. Yeah, it is. Get out of that one. I may not have brought it over. Let me just see here. So this is right off the Arts MB webpage, and it basically tells you the definition of. Um, I'll try and get back to the budget, but while we're here, this basically tells you the definition of a professional artist, and it's really easy to use. It's easy to navigate. Their website is fantastic. Everything is uploadable to their website, and they really break everything down for you to walk through. And they also have videos on how to help yourself and how to get the right materials that you need to post. And if worst case scenario that you get stuck on using any other website, you can always call one of their program officers that they have there, and they will definitely work with you. They're a great team over there. So let me just click back out of that and see what else we have here. So this is one of the most important things, these documents. Let me open this up, and I'm going to get to an important piece here. Yeah. So documentation grant, and it talks about the objectives for the documentation grant. And you can read through here. It kind of gives you a description, and then it tells you what the deadlines are. And you want to make sure that you stick with those. And there's deadlines here. Oh, my computer keeps jumping around a little bit. So there it shows your applications must be submitted at this deadline here. Projects and parts of projects started and completed before the deadline are not eligible. So it kind of gives you a breakdown of what it is that you need to have done in order to submit a successful application. And there's eligible disciplines here. Artistic, it tells you about what the difference is in artistic disciplines. It tells you everything from craft, dance, literary arts, storytelling, performance, media arts, multidisciplinary arts classified, and non-classical music, theater, and visual arts. And where I'm a visual artist, that puts me in that category. It just gives you all the information you need. So great thing is it takes 2 seconds really to sign up with Arts NB and to get on their website. I highly recommend, if you are an artist in the province of New Brunswick and you haven't taken the opportunity to do so, you should really take a look at it and see if it's for you. And the arts program, they have different arts programs which you can go to. You can go to their website, and it will give you a list of all the different programs that they have. They have some very specific for Indigenous artists, like the Equinox Grant, and those are really go-getters. Those are the ones that you want to get. There's not many people that get those, and it's pretty prestigious to actually receive that grant, I think. And it really shows that you're really on the next caliber of who you are as an artist and where you're going. But they are specific grants for Indigenous people in the province that can help you. Yeah. So you can see the maximum grant amount here is $7,000, and this is a grant that I applied for. So I would have went through all of this and then started going, okay, what is it that I need to do? And required supporting materials. There's a great example. Like, it talks about the applicant's resume / CV, balanced project budget, make sure that it's balanced, project title, location, start dates, end dates, your description, samples of work. There's excerpts and text, articles. So here, where I talked about publishing, it is all right here that I have everything in my presentation folder on my desktop. So if I open that and I see that there's a grant here that I really like, or if I want to apply for the same grant as I did, a couple of years ago, back in 2019, I know that they're going to offer this same grant, and um, I can change up my writing and what it is that I want to do, but I have all the hard work done. And that's the most important thing, is really having all your work in one location where you can grab it. And don't be discouraged if you don't receive a grant. And it's happened to me a few times in the past, but I'm getting newer at the information and how to upload and actually apply for grants. In the past, it was all done by somebody wants a mask, okay, I'll carve a mask. Somebody wants a paddle, okay, I'll carve a paddle. But you can't always rely on that. I think that as an artist, growing artist, and you want your work to be shown, uh, and that more people, the more you put your work out there, the more that people are going to see it, and then they're going to spread it out there even more. And Arts NB is a great organization for that as well, for artists and Indigenous artists. They're a great organization to work with. They work closely with Mawi'Art, and we all know that Mawi'Art is another great resource for Indigenous artists in the province of New Brunswick and the Atlantic region. We're pan-Atlantic for Mawi'Art. And if you need a workshop on this, it would be great to contact someone at Mawi'Art and say, hey, listen, as a member, is it possible to have a workshop maybe on how to write some of these grant proposals? These are where you need help writing your artist's resume or your artist bio and having someone take a look at it. So this is a really good description of the documentation grant that I applied for. We'll close that out. And again, you can see like final report. They do want a final report just to sign off after you've spent the money, and you said it's going to be from, say November 2021. I just got a grant and it's going to end November 2022. I usually don't go a full year when I work on grants, but you do want to give yourself a wide berth. You may want to consider realistically how long will it take. And with the pandemic and COVID, that was a given back in 2019 when I did receive my grant, that I did need a little bit extra time. I think I completed it in about 9 to 10 months. But Arts NB is great. You can always ask them for an extension, and they will give you an extension if it's needed. So here you can see my final report. And I talk about how amazing it was, the opportunity for me to create and share my personal work through a newly developed website. I'm very excited, looking forward to the future and transitioning into a full-time artist, which I am. This grant has allowed me the opportunity to broaden my reach as an artist and showcase my artwork to the world, which video does, and the website does. And the HD video camera that I purchased is a real game changer. So you can see that in that $5,000 that I received, I did get, it's a Sony ZV-1, I believe it's called, and it's a little handheld camera, and it comes with, it's kind of used for bloggers or people that want to hold the camera and talk about their work. It came with a little tripod. It has HD video. It was probably about $1,100, $1,200 out of my budget, and it's fantastic, and I still use it today. And that is a game changer, definitely, when you're doing video and your whole proposal is around producing a website that supports that. So here I worked with, and I mentioned again, 2 youth in the development of my website, and I found it very refreshing to collaborate with these 2 amazing artists who really know their social media and how to communicate professionally. And that is a big key for me. We want to be able to target certain people to look at the website, and you want people to really appreciate your work. And to bring youth in on the project was really exciting, because I'm not really the guru of technology, and I grew up with rotary phones back in the day. So it's nice to have a fresh perspective on how to do things properly, especially if you don't know how to use Instagram or other of those social media platforms. So that is my final written piece that I wrote to them, and they were very happy about that. And here I have, let's click on it and see if it works. It's my website. Let's take a quick peek. Look at that, it's opening up. Okay, so you can see this is the my website, and I'm going to move this little box over. So here you can see the me working away and carving, and up top, it's very clean. It's not confusing. It's quite easy to use. So I'm very happy with the two gentlemen that helped me produce this. So if you go to portfolio again, I talked about a little bit of my artwork in there, and every website should have these, but I'm trying to focus more on video, and I'll show you the video part here in a minute. So you could see some of my work and the work I've done in the past. You know, you just choose random pieces, and whatever you think looks really good to the website, then you put it in there. And they're mostly mass. So, you know, one of the things I should do is maybe split it out so that there's a mass section, a paddle section. That's something that I can work with in the future. So video, if I go into video, and I have a few that I need to upload since I've done this, but I do have a video that's right here. And that's not the only video I have. So if I go back up and, oh, I think extras, if I go under extras, it may be under here. There's a free lecture that I did. I know that's not one of my pieces of work there, but if you click on it, you can see that I do a presentation in this workshop, and it talks about me as an artist, who I am, and it goes a little bit more in detail about becoming an Indigenous artist and moving forward as an artist, and really committing a lot of time to that and effort. So it's really, really simple video. Here's about, so when you go in here, you can see right away that this is my artist bio about the artist, right? And it's quite easy. You can see here that there is a few of the works that I've done that people have purchased in the past. Again, going all the way back to 1991 up to 2020. So people can get a sense that I've been around for a little while, and you know, I've been doing my work for quite some time, and there is a contact, I believe, in here, and just very simple to navigate. I find if it's too confusing, and people won't spend much time on your website. So that's my website. Let's close out of that. Let's close out of my final piece. And you can see here that they want all of this stuff uploaded into their documentation. They want you to, this is the description of the project. They want the final report. They want your artist resume. They want letters of support, which is a really big one. So what I would suggest is if you're new at this for the first time and you're not sure who to ask, you're not applying for the documentation grant. You're probably, if it's your first time, you're usually going for like a creation grant maybe, and a smaller grant where you might get $2,000 for a grant or $1,500. And starting out, I think that your resume, your artist resume, is going to tell a story about who you are, and the jurors are going to go, well, this person's really exciting. They've got a bright future, and let's give them a shot. And even though they don't have a lot of work in there, let's see what the references are coming back like. So you would have letter of recommendation from friends. And so I've got a few of these, probably 2 or 3. In this case, I went to my friend Nadia Corey, who owns a gallery on Queen Street, because she actually shows my work. There's a few other ones that I have, and you want to reach out to people that obviously are going to say that they are who they say they are. Their project is fantastic. We support it, and that I know that Charlie's going to be able to get this project done. So one of the big disappointments, I think, as an arts organization is giving out money and finding out that the artist just kind of took the money and run and didn't do anything to help themselves, or that they've been leaving it in limbo and they've only completed part of it. I think you really want someone to be able to say that they've completed it. So you can see here, this is my letter of acceptance from Arts NB, and it just basically speaks to the grant that I got. And that's pretty much it for for everything, oh, the articles in here. So on the website itself, it's going to ask you to upload all these images. And that's why I was saying it's really good to keep all of your articles, everything neatly put into subfolders so that you can just go into them and grab them and drop them. ArtsMB's link is fantastic, and to upload your information, it's quite quick. It's a matter of gathering all your information. That's the hardest part. So if you can get all this done, that's the way that you should really proceed moving forward, is have everything in one folder so that you can just drag and drop. I don't think there's much that let's talk a little bit maybe about so here's a video here. You can see that I've done things over the past. There's one that's called Got a Minute. My friend Jennifer Pazienza, she did a fantastic, she did a really good idea and presented this and had, I think I was 52. I was the last person on Got a Minute, and literally it's a minute about talking about yourself and highlighting your artwork. And that was a lot of fun. There's the ASP guests. So this is with Jean Rooney at the College of Craft and Design. She had me talk to her students. So it's great to keep everything. If you do work outside of your practice, always ask the person. In this case today, I'm being filmed. I would ask Mawi'Art to send me a copy of this so that I could put this talk into my documentation. Because every time that you talk as an artist and you're giving an artist talk, that qualifies you for certain things that you can reach for within ArtsNB and the different grants that they have. They want to know, how many artist talks have you done? Well, this is another one I can add to my list. So you can see, here's all the work that I submitted for Got a Minute. And then my friend Jennifer ended up putting it into a video, which is fantastic. So these are all really great to have. And then the website, I think we looked at this. These are, again, some shots of me. And then this is just my website that we just saw. I'm going to go back, and then large projects, a little bit different when you're working with large projects. This was with the government of New Brunswick, the Mount Carlton project that I worked on with Brandon Mitchell. So here's everything that I needed to submit for that project, just like I did for the ArtsMB project. This one is titled Mount Carlton Project, and it's a collection of Brandon's work and my work. And the raw detailed sketches of what the project was going to look like. So you can see here, they even want the concept of your work for early days. So you can kind of see the paddles here, you know, and the two canoes and the water and the river. And Brandon did a great job on this. We both collaborated on it, gave our input. There's another project sketch. So every time you keep all of these, right? So these are fantastic. You keep all your ideas. And, you know, the idea of the paddles were basically the sun, because Wolastoqiyik people are from the east and the sun rises in the east. So the paddles were jetting out like sun rays, and then two canoes coming together at Mount Carlton. One is a Wolastoqiyik canoe and the other one is a Mi'kmaq canoe. That's where the two clans would come together to talk politics or whatever it is that they would do at Wabanaki Peak. And then I keep a record of the pictures, and here you can see the final piece mounted at Mount Carlton. And it was a great project. It's huge. Like, this is over 23 feet across by, I think it's like 16 or 17 feet high. Brandon, so I did most of the cutting out, did the paddles, and then Brandon painted everything. And he also helped out with the cutting out of the sun, the Mount Carlton itself sitting here, and the two canoes coming together with the fish. It's fantastic. So if you're up in Mount Carlton, you'll see my work up there along with Brandon Mitchell's work. So it's great to work on these projects. Same thing, when you're writing a project for the province, it is exactly the same thing. You have to submit, here's Brandon's bio, you can see right here. You can see traditional images that I wanted to use for part of the project up there. This is probably government policy if you're getting into this. But I also, let me see if it's in here. We also did so I used totems, and I did a specific project for them that was in relation to this. the same grant and it went outside. This is a very big grant, I got to say. The overall purse for this grant was, I believe, it was $31,500. So it was a very big project. It took many, many weeks to complete and get all the projects done. But that is what you're going up against stiff competition usually when you're going into 30,000 and above. So it's good to keep everything, even if you're just starting out. Just remember, don't think it's impossible to get where I'm at today. Even though I've been carving for over 30 years, I've only been starting to apply for grants really over the past like 5 years. So just know that all the work that you do, all the publication that comes out about you, every time you talk as an artist, keep track of all this stuff and recognize the hard work and the value you're putting into this, and be proud to say you're an artist. And that will expand. And you've got many organizations out there that are backing you. You've got Mawi'Art, you've got Arts NB, Canada Council for the Arts. There's many, many programs, not including all the other smaller projects that you could probably find along the way. I've done many projects with schools where I go in and work with the kids and do small projects. And those are fun as well. And they're just as important as the big projects. And sometimes more satisfying because you know that you're going in for the day, you're getting the work done, and you get to go home, where a project like Mount Carlton will go on for weeks and weeks. So, and there's deadlines to meet. So that is basically it for the presentation. I know that Alyssa is on with me today, and this is being recorded for everybody to take a look at. Maybe Alyssa, is there anything that you have any questions for me, or you maybe want to see something that I haven't shown yet?
I did have a question for you. I had a couple of questions for you, actually. One that came up for me and a couple of pre-prepared ones that we had ready for you. One of the questions that I came up with while you were talking about the grants was you mentioned the subsistence piece and how that included the cost to pay yourself for your time, which is, of course, very important to value our time. I was wondering if you could talk a little bit more about how that broke down for you.
To pay myself with the subsistence, well, basically you're putting in your own money. They want to know if there's any outside money that's coming into this project. And yeah, so great question. And so it's important to know, I'm a full-time employee with the province, and I like doing my artwork on the weekends. I'm not a full-time artist, so it's unfair for me to kind of pay myself an exorbitant amount of that, money, where other tools and resources can be better spent elsewhere. And I knew that the project was going to be more than $5,000. So the money I put into it was actually saying, I'm going to kick some of my own money into this project because I do want to pay myself for the work that I'm doing. So it might have been like $300 on the weekends. I'd pay myself for 2 days worth of work. As a full-time artist doing this project, you may want to say, well, $5,000, I really have to pay myself because I'm an artist and I don't have a full-time job. So what tools are going to get me the same results in getting a website done? Who can I contract out? Are there any friends that I can reach out to that might be able to help me out so that I can save a bit of money? I don't have to go out and get, say, a brand new video recorder that I purchased, but maybe one of your friends can help you in taking the video, and you may want to pay that person, say, $500 out of the budget for taking videos of your work. That is a great way of saving money so that more money can go into what it is that you need to live on as an artist and how long the project's going to go. $5,000 goes extremely quickly, even for any artist, even if you budget it. You'd have to say, how much do I need to live on and how long is this really going to be going on for realistically? Does the project, so as a juror, I'd want to say, okay, well, Alyssa just applied for a project. She's got $5,000 we're giving her, and she's saying that her project is going to go 8 months off of $5,000. We know that that's unrealistic as a full-time artist. So the work you're doing as a full-time artist is a lot more intense, and it's more at full-time pace rather than someone that's working full-time in government who can only do artwork part-time. So that's where you separate the two and define how much it really is going to cost you, to be very specific about budgets. Because our Arts MB jury members and people that work at Arts MB are there to support you. And these projects are to, this one specifically about documentation, is to help with exactly that. Building a website, providing better version of who you were to propel you as an artist and put you into a different category. So those are the things that you really have to keep in mind. So budget is a big part of that.
That's so helpful. And on the point of contracting people to help you out, I know you mentioned Nate Gaffney and Desmond Simon, two talented digital marketing gurus, helped you out with your site. Did any piece of your budget include paying them for the work that they helped you out with? Or was it kind of a friend helping out a friend kind of thing?
Well, the great news is I believe that Desmond did, yeah, so Nate worked on the website, and Desmond, if you watch the video on my website, Desmond did the video on that. And I believe that Desmond had a grant at the time, so it worked out that he was looking for material to use for his grant. So he used my video towards his grant, and in return, I got a copy of that for nothing, which was fantastic.
That's a good deal.
Nate, on the other hand, yeah, no, that came at a cost. Yeah, really well worth it. Really well worth it. I mean, these guys are very talented. They're both artists in their own right, and they're really making a lot of splash these days, and going after big grants. And those guys, I would love to see those guys be part of this Maui collection that can be up on the website, so that people can see. All right, get the old timer out of the way. We know he's doing his work and stuff, but let's get some of the newer generation in to see how great they are with multimedia and how good they are at storytelling. It's unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable. Those two are fantastic, fantastic artists.
I love that. It shows the value of calling upon some of the emerging artists too, to help out and the value that they can bring to the team.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I do have a couple other quick questions for you.
Okay.
My first one, where could an artist get help with preparing their portfolio?
So there's a couple different ways that you could do this. When it comes to working on your portfolio, you got to remember a portfolio is it's made up of so many moving pieces, right? So you have your artist bio, your artist resume, your artist, like to call your mugshot. You should have a picture in there, a couple nice pictures, whether they're product shots of your work. It could be a face shot, and it could be, a motion movement, something where it shows that you're actually doing the skills. Pictures of all your work should be in there. Letters of reference should be in there. So to get work, you really have a lot to do to work on those pieces. And if you're unsure, I would suggest contacting, first and foremost, sign up with Arts NB or sign up with Mawi'Art, become a member, reach out to the organizations, and they could possibly put you in touch with an artist, or the organization itself may do a workshop where like-minded people need to come together and take a workshop on how to develop your portfolio.
That's awesome. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Can I apply even though I don't think of myself as a professional artist for grants?
Can you apply for Arts NB, or can you apply? Yes, absolutely. So obviously the difference here is that Mawi'Art is an Indigenous arts organization, but Arts NB is open to absolutely everybody. And there's other arts organizations. There is Alison Murphy has, I believe it's Craft Alliance.
Craft NB?
Craft NB, sorry. There is, just trying to think of the few. There's other arts organization. Julie Wynick, I believe, runs ArtsLink. And so there's other arts organizations out there that cost literally peanuts to be part of, but the amount of feedback that you'll get from them as a member of their arts organization is outstanding. It's amazing. So I would encourage to be part of any arts organization that's out there, and whether you're Indigenous or non-Indigenous, those organizations are fantastic. So just because Mawi'Art is an Indigenous-led organization and supports Indigenous artists, it doesn't mean that they can't apply to any of the other arts organizations. In fact, they should, because it draws in more opportunity for those arts organizations looking for specific things, like if you're an Indigenous potter, or if you're into silk screening or making drums or carving or photography, or the list goes on and on. The more you put yourself out there, the more you're going to gain from it.
And even if somebody doesn't consider themselves to be quite the professional level, should they still go for it?
Absolutely, yes, absolutely. And you're allowed to request feedback if you're denied on your application, which is great, because it says, well, they may come back and say you really needed more detail in the body of your text for us to understand what it is that you're doing. But also the organization will say, hey, listen, like, let's do this workshop. And I have this artist in mind where they weren't successful on that last application. Maybe this is an opportunity to bring them in. So it's a learning opportunity for sure. Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah.
What if the artist in question doesn't have a really good camera to take product shots with?
So that could be, a handheld proper camera or a cell phone camera. If you don't have good picture quality on either of those, because I know that, believe it or not, I still have some friends that have flip phones, and that's crazy to think about, but yes, they do. And they're not the best photo equipment to take photos with. I would suggest reaching out to a friend. And we in today's society, we all know everybody with lots of friends who have lots of fancy cameras. And if you can work a deal out with someone like that, then that's fantastic. I've had an artist in the past didn't have specific money to buy a certain thing that they needed, and we ended up bargaining that person did a piece of work for me, and I gave them the money so that they can go and get it done. So in this case, if you're looking to get really good photos done, ask a friend or reach out to Mawi'Art. We are absolutely set up to, and by the way, so the viewers, they keep hearing me say reach out to Mawi'Art. I'm on one of the board members with Mawi'Art, so it's fantastic. But should reach out to Mawi'Art. We have all the latest gear, including really nice cameras, and we have shells, product shells. So basically, it's like a pop-up that you can put up, and it's got lights in it, so that you can put your piece in it, and it really highlights your work. It's kind of like a photo setting where it's all white, white background, and you get your product shots in really good. Nate's really good at showing how to use those, but we do have people at the organization that could do workshops on these. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much. This has been really comprehensive. I think it's going to be super helpful. So many tips and tricks.
Oh, good.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it very much.
Okay. Alrighty.